Very well welcome to everybody who joined for the second section of the e-honor program. We have had Hannah with us. She'll tell us a little bit more about herself. We are hoping that you had a good time already in the first workshop, and now we're coming to something that I think many waited, and that is a chocolate honor. I would love to be able to say this because I think it's really important. This honor comes from our union, and we have Heather who actually wrote it for us. So Heather, tell us a little bit more, and then we're going to go straight with the presentation.
Thanks, Dan. Hello, everyone. It's really nice to meet you. My name is Heather Hanna. I was an adventurer from the age of 7 and then a Pathfinder from the age of 10, then took a huge long break and finally became a master guide in 2007. I have run one of the largest adventurer clubs in the Union, which is Newbold. And I've also run the smallest Pathfinder club in the UK, I believe, which had 2 members, which were my sons, because they said they wanted me to teach them instead of teaching everyone else. So that's what we did for several years, and we had a lot of fun.
That is beautiful, Heather. Heather, just to let everybody know that if you guys took a part in the first honor, make sure you fill up the attendance form. I forgot about this. So I'm posting that in the chat. The same thing will happen for the chocolate honor. We would like you on the end to fill the attendance form, which is now being posted in a chat room here and also on Facebook, because this is the only way for us to prove to your club directors that you are with us. And this way will be much easier if you can do it. Heather has also Heather gave us a worksheets, and the worksheets are available. Many of you already downloaded it. In case you didn't, it is available, and we are putting them in a chat rooms right now. So Heather, if you want to share the screen, you can share your screen, and then we're gonna go to the chocolate honor. This is one of these honors that I think many would want to do the craft. When it comes to the end of this honor, we would like to say that when Heather gives you requirements, we would like you to take the pictures of the things you do and then send us later on. So Heather, it is your time.
Thank you very much. Well, it's really nice to meet you all. This honor I wrote for fun. Nathan Stickland was in Diane's job back in the day, and I said to him we should write about what we're passionate about, and I felt passionate about chocolate. So he challenged me to write the honor, which I did. And then he took it to the general conference, and they said we should definitely make the honor, so start writing the notes. And at first I was kind of teasing because I like chocolate a lot, but I didn't really see how we could get an honor out of it. But I took up the challenge, and actually it turned out to be about so much more than chocolate, and things that are really important about that we as Pathfinders should be thinking really hard about and helping other people in our world. So a very brief history of chocolate. They believe that chocolate drinking, as like hot chocolate, goes back 3,000 years, which is amazing, all the way back to the Mayans and the Aztecs. Apparently the Mayans like theirs hot and the Aztecs like theirs cold, but it's not like the hot chocolate that you would get these days from Cadbury's. This was a very savory thing, and it had things like chili and black pepper and salt in it. So it was a very different sort of, more bitter, I think, than any hot chocolate you'd be used to. And it wasn't really discovered by anybody from Europe until Christopher Columbus turned up, and he brought it back to the Spanish court, and from then it went to Italy, to France, so all the way through Europe. The first people, though, to make a solid chocolate bar is the Fry Company in 1847, and they were British. So, as always, British people have taken a good thing and made it even better. So where does chocolate come from? If you look, these are all places that are around the equator, and the main places that chocolate come from are Côte d'Ivoire and Cameroon and Vietnam and Cambodia and Brazil. So a lot of stuff along the equator. So the equator's the line right in the middle where it's very, very hot and very moist, and so you've got a lot of humidity. And you have to have just the right type of growing conditions to grow chocolate. So as you see, there's no chocolate grown in Britain and none really in North America either. So it's quite interesting that we rely heavily on all of these amazing countries, especially West Africa, to grow our cacao. So there's the main places where the chocolate comes from. and they're all very poor countries for the most part. So we need to think about what we're doing for the farmers in those countries and how we're looking after them and how we're making sure that they get the fair prices for a very nice luxury product. So how do you make cocoa? Well, you start with cocoa trees and they have pods on them which are harvested. You can see a lady doing that there. And then they split them open. Look at the age of the kids who are splitting them open and look at the machetes that they're using with their bare hands to do that work. We'll come back to that a little later. Then they take out the cocoa beans and the pulp. And what they do is they put them in a huge big mound and they ferment for about a week to bring out the flavor. Then they dry the beans in the sun. Doesn't that look amazing? Imagine how good that smells. Then what they do next is they clean the beans and they roast them to make the flavor stronger. And then their hull or the shell is taken off and the nib inside the bean is separated. And that's the chocolate nibs that you can see there. You can actually buy those in specialist stores. And then you get what we would recognize more as chocolate. So you press the nibs and these big rollers and you get a thing called chocolate liquor coming out. It's not liquor as in alcohol, just to be really clear. This is the raw chocolate. And you also get cocoa butter from this process. So here's the things that you get. There's the pod, and then you can see the raw cocoa, and then the cocoa butter and the cocoa powder. So the next thing that you do with it is you have to mix it up, and you do a lot of mixing with it and add in other things that you want to make your chocolate, and then you get the finished product out of it. But there's a lot of things added to chocolate, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So we looked before at where we got our chocolate from, but here are the places where we eat most of the chocolate. Isn't that interesting that Europe and the United States eat tons when they don't produce any at all? I think we're very lucky to have this product. And actually what's interesting is most of the people who create it for us and harvest the beans don't actually get to eat the chocolate. So that's another thing I think we need to think about. So what is in chocolate? Dan, I'd like to give you some chocolate. So we'll start with white chocolate to begin with. Here we go. I'm going to hand that to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, well done. Good. So, Dan, do you know what's in white chocolate exactly?
I have no clue, but white chocolate is my favorite. So I would definitely think probably a lot of good things, I'm thinking.
You're not wrong, but it's not the only thing. All right, I'll give you some more chocolate just so that you've got it. So let's give you some milk chocolate next. You ready?
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Heather. Oh, I didn't know I will be getting so many chocolates. So this is, if I'm right, milk chocolate with 37% cocoa. Is that right?
So only 37% cocoa in there. Yeah. Remember that number. Okay, I'll give you one more bar. Ready?
I'm ready.
Dark chocolate this time. Ooh. Okay, here we go.
Oh, thank you, Heather. This is 70% dark chocolate.
70%. Okay, so we had 70% in the dark, 37% in the milk chocolate, and then we'll have to see for white chocolate. So let's have a look.
But before you go there, I just want to say to everybody who is watching in Zoom or Facebook live, if you wouldn't mind, put in the comments which chocolate is your favorite. And if you know the percentages, please put the percentages down as well, because we would love to share this with Heather. But also on top of that, if it's possible, and you really like this presentation or you like Simon's presentation, make sure you share this link on your wall, or at least hit a like button. We're hoping to reach as many people as possible on Facebook today, because I think it's going amazing.
Thank you. Okay, so you said white chocolate was your favorite. Here are all of the things that could be in chocolate on the screen. So have a look and tell me which things you think are in white chocolate.
White chocolate, I think definitely vanilla. Well, let's just start with sugar, probably. Sugar number one. milk solids, cocoa. I think milk solids and vanilla. I think there's three probably top, huh?
Okay. Milk solids, vanilla, and sugar, did you say?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if you're right. Oh.
Okay.
So the question is, if it's sugar, cocoa butter, and vanilla, is it actually chocolate? I'll leave you to think about whether that's chocolate or not. I would argue no, but it is yummy. I'll give you that. It is very, very tasty. All right. So what about carob? What do you think is in carob?
Carob. You see, my English is not the first language, but I know there is a plant which looks like that, like a dry thing. And if I remember, that's carob. Is that right?
Yep. So carob is basically made from the fruit of the carob plant, not the cacao tree, so it's not chocolate. And when people say you can use carob as a substitute, you can, but it's have completely different properties and it's not chocolate at all.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting? Both white chocolate and carob are not actually chocolate.
Wow.
Think about. Okay, as for what the ingredients are for the rest of them, milk chocolate, sweet chocolate, and bitter chocolate, you're going to have to do some research on that. And that's one of the questions on the worksheet that I've sent.
Yes, yes. So make sure that you download your worksheet. It's available, guys. Just to give you a little bit of feedback from our listeners, a lot of people said they love white chocolate. We are friends already. There is a lot of people who love milk chocolate. I need to say this, dark chocolate came the last on this little vote thing.
I completely understand that because it is quite bitter. And cooking chocolate, which my mother used to use in America when I was a little girl, I would never ask for a piece because it was so bitter I couldn't eat it. And that was probably about 80-95% chocolate cacao, so it was really quite strong. So I totally understand that, but you've all got terrible sweet teeth, and that's not the kind of chocolate that's good for you, I'm afraid. But we'll learn more about that in a minute. So now we're going to talk about melting chocolate. So we're going to swap over cameras, and that'll take just a few seconds, so bear with.
We're stopping to share the screen, yeah?
Yep, nearly there.
Okay.
Stop sharing this.
So Heather, just to make sure, you're saying the white chocolate is really not a chocolate. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
I will have to take counseling session after this one. If I only knew that, I'll probably go for different honor.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I've broken Dan's heart. This is
no. We love it. Thank you for sharing this information with us. So everybody who's watching, people, stop eating white chocolate. Eat something else.
Better for you. No, you can eat it, but in small quantities because it has got cocoa butter in it. So
I'm very good in eating in small quantities. In that case, there'll be no problem at all.
So in order to melt chocolate, the way you need to do it is you break it up into small pieces and you put it into something called a double boiler. So the way a double boiler works is you never directly put it in a saucepan over the heat. What you do is you shake it into a bowl. This is just an ordinary bowl. Oops, where's the camera? There we are. And we put it in there, and then we put it on a saucepan with boiling water in it. And we do this because if you put it directly on the heat, it's really, really easy to burn it, and then it goes disgusting and grainy, and it's really not very nice at all. But if you do it this way, you can put it in there, and then you start melting it. And it's a slow process. If you go too quickly, you can burn it and completely ruin it. If you go nice and slow, you can see it's starting to get nice and creamy. Bet you wish you could eat this now.
Just to let you know, everybody, as Heather is melting the chocolates, this is the only positive thing about isolation for me here in this empty building. I have chocolates and nobody else to eat them, so I will just self-isolate myself and eat it right now.
There is no situation in which there isn't a blessing. Remember that. So you can see that when I'm snapping the dark chocolate, it snaps a lot more because it's less soft, because it has less cocoa butter in it.
Let me ask you a question. somebody is asking, can you use a microwave to melt the chocolate?
You absolutely can, but you need to be super, super careful because it goes off very, very quickly in a microwave.
All
So
right.
you put it in a bowl, put it in the microwave, and then just do 30 seconds at a time, and then stir it and keep an eye on it, because if it goes too long, it goes grainy and you can't use it again.
Some people are experiencing a horror movie by watching the chocolate melt. And just want to give you guys the medical advice at the moment during this epidemic is not with the sugar. So we are very sorry for doing the chocolate on it. So make sure that if you're eating any sugar, it's a very small quantity. Is that right, Heather?
Absolutely true. But also remember, we're going to learn in a few minutes about the health benefits of chocolate. So there's lots of things that chocolate is good for you, as long as it's a darker chocolate and not too much milk. But I believe God's created chocolate for us because he loves us and because he wants us to have nice things. We just need to think about temperance and being really careful not to go mad and eat loads and loads. And we've got to think about other things too, which we'll come to. Do you see how that chocolate's melted like really beautifully now?
Wow.
Now, one of the mistakes that people make is that they let some water or steam get into it. So you see my bowl fits nicely in my saucepan here. So when I lift it off, I want to be careful because there's loads of water underneath from the steam. So I'm putting it on something so that it's nice and solid, and I'm using a hot glove because it's very, very hot. And this, then the water is all carefully evaporated by my hot plate. But you see, it's beautifully melted now. So
everybody's saying, people are saying it looks amazing from their point. It does look amazing even here. I can smell it. Maybe not. Maybe just me.
Oh, so good. So whilst that's melted, I'll make a few things for you from chocolate so you can see. So the first thing I've got here are molds. This is one made out of silicon. I need to get it close to the camera. There we go. And you can see it's lots of Christmassy types of shapes. And this one came in an advent calendar. And so you can see I've taken it out and so I can use them again. So if you're making chocolates,
people are saying they would like me to pass the chocolate to them, but it is really hard to attach the chocolates through the chat rooms. I'm so sorry about
that. So I think you should share your chocolate.
I think I should share them too, but at the moment it's not possible. Government said you need to keep them all for yourself and don't go give it anybody.
I passed it to you. You're in, where are you, St. Albans?
Watford.
See, I'm in Binfield, which is, how far away are we?
Only about 45 minutes.
Yeah, long way away. Yeah, I passed in chocolate, so you'll have to figure out how to do that. So you can see I just poured the chocolate into the molds, and then you put it in a cool place and let it solidify. And hopefully that will work for later. So I'll just find a cool place.
And for everybody who is watching, when you go through your worksheets, you'll be able to see there are some things you need to make. And make sure when you make them, you take pictures of them and send it to me. And I'll be posting my email address in a chat so that you can have my email address. We would love to share your photos because every week, sometimes Monday, sometimes Tuesday, we share all the photos from people who are sending them to us. So at the moment, yes.
So you can see I've just tapping it gently so that it goes in all the areas of the mold, and I'll put that to one side, and that'll hopefully set by the end of the presentation, hopefully. Now, I did put those in the fridge, but that's just for speed's sake, so that hopefully it'll set in time. I'm not totally sure how long it'll take to set, but we'll have a go. But normally you wouldn't keep chocolate in the fridge because it gets what's called a bloom on it. So it gets sort of, it looks like kind of white mist over it. It's perfectly fine to eat it still, it's absolutely fine, but it does look a little different from the glossy chocolates that you're used to opening a box of. All right, let's see what else we could make. So let's make some clusters. Clusters are kind of interesting. Trying to think where to put this so you can see. Okay.
When you say clusters, what do you mean clusters? I don't know. My English is second language.
No problem. I will show you. So here I've got some nuts And they're just chopped up nuts, and I've toasted them a little bit so they're
All
nice
right.
and crunchy and tasty. And here's some flaked almonds. I toasted those as well, so I'm going to put some of those in there and kind of mush them up so they get nice and small. Okay, yum. Then my husband really likes ginger, so I've got some crystallized ginger here. You can use any kind of fruit that you like, though.
Can I just ahead as you're doing that ginger, I'm gonna ask the question for the viewers. What do you like in your chocolate? So, do you like ginger? Do you like which type of nuts, raisins? What do you like? Just put it down so I can tell Heather as well. I need to be honest. I only had one chocolate with ginger, and I think Natalie bought it for herself, or something like this. And we were doing the audit of our shop, and we were so hungry that we had to eat it. It was it was okay.
Sometimes life's like that.
Yes.
So now I've got little chopped up apricots as well, because I really like apricots. Right. And then I've got some chopped up cherries.
Wow.
Cherries, and they're yummy.
Wow. So Heather, as you're doing that, let me just tell you what people are liking it. Somebody said, I like nothing in my chocolate. Wow.
Oh, I'm the same. I'm with you.
So a lot of people are saying hazelnut and almonds. Somebody said, oh, hazelnut is winning, I think. Let me just see. Somebody put chewy nuts, cashew nuts. Somebody mentioned that they like Oreos in their chocolate.
Oh, yum.
This is like totally unacceptable. Like you're putting chocolate into chocolate. People, get a life. It's like
a little healthier, just a little, not heat.
Let me just see. Milk chocolate. Something like combination of milk chocolate, white chocolate, and a few other things. Cocoa, caramel. Oh, somebody said caramel. You're not gonna live long if you continue eating chocolate with caramel. Some people are just so happy to just talk about chocolate. They're posting pictures of chocolates. Thank you all for this. Once again, if you can, do share this live feed on your Facebook wall. Maybe some other Pathfinder will be able to see it as well. And give us a thumbs up if that's possible. Heather?
Cool. So now I'm just mixing a little bit of chocolate in with it. And so you've got this lovely, lovely cluster, which is kind of crunchy because of the nuts, but it's soft because of the fruit and the chocolate. And then if you take pastry case, like here's one I prepared earlier, and you can just spoon a little bit of that into the pastry case.
Somebody's asking a question, maybe you could answer it as you're placing it in the box. It says, how do you process the raw cocoa beans into the powder to form the milk chocolate?
So what you do is you have very heavy rollers, and so you make chocolate liquor, which is kind of it's a liquid, and they can take off the cocoa butter, but to make the milk chocolate, they'll add stuff in.
Okay.
So they'll add in milk solids, they'll add in some cocoa butter. That's what makes it bendy. So if you noticed when you got an Easter egg this year, if you were lucky enough to get one from the shops, the chocolate's quite bendy, and it's because it's got quite a lot of cocoa butter in there. If it's snap kind of chocolate, then it really hasn't. It's mostly the cacao. But they do it on industrial scales. You can do it at home, but it's really quite tricky.
All right, thank you, thank you.
So there's your clusters, and then you pop that in the fridge and it hardens, and then you've got a lovely, tasty, fairly healthy treat.
Wow, wow. Just for everybody who are still posting, thank you so much for sharing this video with everybody else. Many people are still putting their comments what they like in chocolate. Some people are mentioning mint. Some people are saying the rice. You know, when it's popped, how do you do the, how do you?
Rice Krispies, we'll be doing that in a few minutes.
Wow, wow! Somebody's gonna be really happy to see that.
Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is another healthy treat. People are really going nuts for bananas at the moment in the stores. Everybody likes bananas. So what you can do is you chop your banana in half, and then you peel it. And then what you do next is you take a popsicle stick and you stick it in your banana, and then you freeze it. You can do it fresh, I guess, but I like them frozen because they taste like popsicles.
I need to say that some people are saying they like strawberries and the raisins in their chocolate. We don't want anybody to be upset.
Oh no, we're doing everything. We're doing everything today. So you take your frozen banana and you pour chocolate over it. Is everyone hungry yet?
We are all hungry here.
Good, good.
Some people are really hungry.
Lovely. So once you've got your chocolate on, you can roll it in nuts or hundreds and thousands.
I think you need to stop rolling chocolate and that it looks so good.
I think it's delicious. And then you can put it back in the freezer. And then when you want a healthy treat, instead of having ice cream, you could have bananas. Or even strawberries. So I froze this one earlier just as an experiment. And again, we can put chocolate over it.
Wow, I knew we were doing chocolate on it, but I just did not imagine it's going to be so much chocolate.
You can never have too much chocolate, Diane, except that you can. But
except
or you can use fresh strawberries.
That is right. That's right. That's right.
Fresh strawberries are yummy. They are so good. I'm going to have some.
If you cannot watch this, we are asking you to look away from the screen at this point, as maybe at the moment you do not have a chocolate with a strawberry at the moment. So many people are shouting, "No, don't do that."
Better do another one. Better do another one. Okay, we have chocolate strawberry. Right. Good. Okay, let's clear those away. Now, I think it's time to, let's see, where are we? Oh, we'll do one more. So you see my pretty roses behind here. That's because it's my birthday tomorrow.
Oh, I can now, we can fully now support all this chocolate stuff being made.
Because it's my birthday, good. So what you can do is if you take a rose leaf and you wash it, I washed this one earlier, honest, and use the back of the leaf where you can see the veins a lot better.
Yep, we can see that.
Going back, there we go. So if you coat the back of the leaf in chocolate.
And many people are saying happy birthday, Heather.
Thank you.
For tomorrow. And many are very happy for you to have all this chocolate. Others are not so happy. And some of them are crying at the moment.
I'm sorry about the people who are crying. I just make you cry, honest. And then if you put that on a plate and let it harden, what you can do is you peel off the leaf and you're left with a chocolate leaf and it's got little veins and ridges.
Oh, beautiful.
It's very pretty and very nature-like, which is good.
Yeah, as you're putting that in the fridge, many people are saying they wish they are your neighbor. And we all wish suddenly that same thing.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay, so if we can go back to that camera and sharing the screen. Actually, we could just share the screen. If you leave that camera up. Oh no, actually, let's change the camera. Sorry. Technical stuff.
Oh, no, it's no problem at all. Many are watching and they are saying that they love actually your dish with bananas.
It's good.
They're finding that to be their favorite. And everybody is very happy and they're saying you're making them all very hungry. I can put the hand down.
There we go. Okay, we're back to the presentation. Can we get it from same button? Okay.
We just need to press a full screen.
There we go.
Excellent.
Okay, so we've now looked at the correct way of melting chocolate, and you know not to do it over direct heat because then it'll burn. Normally, I say to make different things to do with chocolate. Actually, let me put this back on there to keep it warm. We'll need it in a little while. And here's some ideas of things that you can make. We'll try making chocolate bark in a little bit, and we can also make some Rice Krispie treats and possibly even chocolate chip cookies. We'll see how time goes. Dan, can you give me 10 recipes or 10 ways? Oh, hang on, let's go back, sorry. Let's do the best way of storing chocolate. So where do you like to store your chocolate, Dan?
The best way to store the chocolate is in your belly. So if you have a chocolate, you should eat it straight away. We have David Shilley, who just said, I'm unpacking 200 grams of chocolate right now.
Oh dear, I'm sorry. Okay, eat it in small amounts. So I've got all this chocolate, so you think I should eat this straight away? Is that your recommendation as official Pathfinder leader?
Heather, say it again.
I'm asking you if it's your recommendation as official Pathfinder leader for me to eat all of this right now.
My suggestion is not to eat it. You should just put it in a paper box, and I will message you the address where they need to be sent.
Okay, so lots of people like to keep their chocolate in the fridge or the freezer. I quite like that because it makes it really solid and snaps, and it's really nice. But actually it creates a sort of bloom on the chocolate, as I said before. So the best place to keep it is in a cool, dry place. Fantastic. So what is property like at cold temperatures? Well, if it's very cold, it gets really sharp snap to it when you try and break it, and it's very, very solid. If it's warm, then it's a little bit more bendy and it's nice and soft to work with. If it's hot, then it goes lovely liquid, as we've just seen when I melted the chocolate. And if it's very hot, it burns. When it burns, it goes grainy and it's nasty and it's surprisingly horrid tasting. So, Dan, are you eating chocolate?
No, I'm not eating chocolate.
Worksheet, young man.
I'm eating something different.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Okay, give me 10 recipes. You can type this in that involve chocolate. So I've shown you some pictures there. So just start typing anything that you like chocolate in, and it can be all different things. One of my favorites is the picture in the middle. So what that is a sphere of chocolate kind of that's hollow, and it's got a chocolate cake in the middle, and then you get chocolate sauce and pour it on the sphere, and the sphere kind of breaks apart, and then you can eat the whole thing. And I've never actually had the courage to order that because that looks like too much chocolate to me, but it looks really yummy. Okay, so put some ideas up as to what can be made of.
People are putting, say they like chocolate in chip cookies, ice cream.
Yep.
Somebody actually says, I love chocolate in a milk. Somebody likes hot chocolate, strawberries. People are saying a cake. They like chocolate in a cake.
Oh, yes.
Milkshake, cake rice crisps.
Yep.
Oh, there is, this is, our chat is going now, it's on fire. We will have, people are saying that.
Hastily. Okay, can anyone think of some health benefits of chocolate? Let's move the chat to there.
All right, health benefits, let's go.
That you can think of that chocolate has been proven to be good for you. Has it gone very quiet, Dan?
People are still very happy to just talk in what they like their chocolate. Nobody's talking about the health benefits, so you had a need to take us this way.
Fine, I'll take you there. Okay. Firstly, it's got lots of vitamins in it. It's got vitamin B1, B2, vitamin A, and antioxidants. So antioxidants are things that basically help you balance, and they reduce bad cholesterol. So this is like a really important thing because bad cholesterol can clog up your heart and help you to have a heart attack. So if you're balancing with antioxidants, you're reducing your chance of a heart attack. I bet you didn't know that. So it's also got things called tannins in it. How to explain tannins? Let's see. So basically tannins are also against fats, and they help you improve the way you use cholesterol, and it also increases things called serotonin levels. So this means that you're happy when you eat chocolate. So it's medically proven that chocolate makes you happy.
I was the person on which they tested it, and I can confirm you're really happy when you eat chocolate. Somebody wrote it down and said that there is no health benefits whatsoever for the chocolate.
Not true.
Which is totally not true because Heather just told us.
There's lots of studies done by major medical places, and they all prove that chocolate actually has some good properties. It's the sugar that is the problem, the amount of cocoa butter, and the other rubbish that people put into the chocolate that's the problem. It's not actually the chocolate itself. So if you go for anything above 70%, you've actually got really, really good health benefits from it. So I'm going to put all of these terms up, and then I'll let you look at them in your own time and see what they mean. But actually prevents dental caries. That means you get less fillings if you eat good chocolate. I'm not saying to eat loads, because one thing is when you use a really dark chocolate, you can't eat loads of it. It's quite rich and it's quite a lot. So you can only eat small amounts. And so that's probably why some of these health benefits exist. Okay, so there's lots of different things that you talked about. Did anyone say brownies, Diane?
A lot of people were mentioning brownies. One of these people was me as well.
Fair enough. I love brownies. If we have time, I'll do chocolate chip cookies with you. And if we don't, I won't. So we'll see how we go. The thing I wanted to do next was a 5-minute chocolate mug cake. This is really fun recipe because it's very simple. All you need is a mug. And you put 4 tablespoons of flour. So this big one is a tablespoon. I'm going to make a small one, so I'm just going to do one. How many have I got here? Is it 4 tablespoons flour? Sorry, I haven't frozen. I just can't remember. Okay, I quartered this because I just wanted to make one mug cake. So 1 tablespoon of flour.
Yep.
Put it in the mug.
What is next?
And then you go.
By the way,
of cocoa powder.
This is our first live cooking presentation, so thank you.
Oh, that's right. I thought pizza was, but actually it wasn't.
The pizza was taken step by step because it takes a long time to make good pizza.
I was very hungry by the end of it, and I also wanted to put ketchup on it, but
not possible.
So I thought I better not.
Thank you so much for listening presentation. No ketchup on pizza, people. So we have what? First is what?
So we put 1 tablespoon of flour, then 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder.
Yes.
And then where's my salt? This is a teaspoon, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So that's just a little bit. Okay. And then.
Now, when you talked about this, somebody actually says they think that the chocolate pizza exists. And I will have to call Robert, our cook, who did pizza on it, to ask, is that allowed or not allowed?
And then a tablespoon of sugar. Okay. So let's see, where are we up to?
All right.
So we get our teaspoon and we mix up the flour, the sugar, the salt, and the cocoa powder, and mix it really, really, really well. And then
somebody's asking, what type of flour did you use, Heather?
I use self-raising, but you can use all sorts of flour. So you can use spelt flour or oat flour, or you can even use almond, but I'm not sure how well it rises with ground almonds instead of flour, in case you're gluten intolerant. Okay, so the next thing we need, milk. So, 3 tablespoons of milk. I'm just using cow's milk, but you could use any type of milk that you like, oat or almond.
Okay.
3 tablespoons of that. 1, 2, 3. 3 teaspoons of oil.
All right. Some people are asking for just can they use all-purpose flour? And the answer is yes, if I understand properly.
Yeah, but put some baking powder in if it's not got self-raising in it. So, okay, then I mix it all up and mix in my mug.
Yes.
Until it's all in, and make sure you get into every corner.
I'm just, I just stopped sharing your presentation so people can see better.
Oh, that's fine. Perfect. Thank you. Didn't know you had that power. Excellent. Then it goes in the microwave for 1 minute. Now this is an experiment because I did it yesterday and she said 30 seconds. That was nowhere near long enough. It was soup.
No problem at all. Let's put it in the microwave.
1 minute and start. Okay, that's the microwave cake going. So that's going to be my birthday cake tomorrow if it's any good.
Sounds good.
I will see. I'll reshare the screen then.
Excellent. Yeah, you reshare. People asking about the milk. Heather said that you can use any milk you want. You can use whatever you use. If you don't want to use milk or cow milk, you can use other types of milk as well.
I just looked at this and it says 1 egg, but I've got a different recipe that I tried yesterday that was better. So I'll send the recipe to you guys so that you can try it, but we'll make sure it's not soup first.
Heather, because we have about 5 to 10 minutes max at the moment, let me just ask you, how far are we in presentation?
I think we're pretty well near the end, to be honest.
Okay. And then if it's possible for you to just summarize what is the requirement for the chocolate one.
Okay. So the first thing you need to do, let me just turn to it, is you need to know how chocolate is made from the cacao tree pods all the way through to the chocolate that you eat. And you can look this up easily on many videos and YouTube and things like that. So you can do your research and go for good sites. Then you need to look at the health benefits of chocolate. Then you talk about what's in the different types of chocolate, which we covered. And then we look at the use of chocolates in recipes and how we store chocolate. And then we talk about the properties of chocolate and what they're like at different temperatures. Excellent. Then we go for chocolate recipes. That's the fun bit. That's where you get to do chocolate things. And after that, let's see.
For everybody who is wondering, worksheets are available on our website. I just posted a link in a Zoom group, and we will have that also on a Facebook for you to help you go through this honor. It is not very difficult to achieve it. And the beautiful thing is that we have badges. We can't ship it to you, but at the moment, but maybe soon.
So the next thing I want to talk about is the ethics of chocolate production. And we need to think about the way Christians should behave in relation to them. So as you saw, these are very poor countries. These are young children who are doing a lot of the work. So we need to think carefully about how we behave as Christians. And one thing I'd like you to look for when you buy your chocolate is this here, which is fair trade. Sorry, the lighting's a little difficult there. There we go. Yes. And that says that the people who are making the chocolate and harvesting the chocolate are getting paid a decent wage, and also that children aren't being used for getting the chocolate. Because if a child chops their hand off with that machete, nobody is going to look after them or employ them. They're not going to care very much because these children are cheap labor. And so we need to think really, really hard about where our chocolate is coming from. And it's worth paying a little bit more, I would argue, in order to make sure that kids are being treated well and have access to schooling. And women as well have decent wages. So I think this is very important. So if you look here, these are very young children getting chocolate for us. And also rainforest has been destroyed in getting chocolate. So basically they burn down rainforest and then plant the cacao plants. And they only use the land for a few years and then they chop down some more rainforest. But there are different ways of farming so that they can do it better and so they don't chop down all the rainforest. And that's very, very important. So Judges, who's got their Bible there? Can you look up Judges 14:18 for me? There's a question. And it is, what is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion? And the answer is?
Let's see, can they answer it quickly? Then somebody put chocolate down.
Yay, correct. Well done, gold star to that person. Fabulous. So how can we use chocolate to witness to other people? So I've got some ideas here, which include chocolate chip cookie gift in a jar. And somebody else gave me a brownie mix for Christmas in a jar, which I'm really looking forward to doing. That's a really nice thing you can give somebody because then they've got something fun to do as well. Or when you have your Easter eggs, you can use this company. This company is called the Real Easter Egg Company. And what they do is they don't just put a yummy Easter egg in there, but it's reliably sourced and money goes to charity. And also there's a lovely book. And so people can learn about the real story about Easter, about Jesus, which is very important. There's also an Advent calendar version from the same company. And again, there's a story about what really happened at Christmas. And I think these are lovely gifts that you can give people. Sometimes at Halloween, I'll buy about 10 calendars and give them to the first 10 kids who come to my door. So there's quite the scramble every year now that they know that I do this. So there's the real Easter egg and there's the Advent calendar. Now I've got a chocolate story. I'm not sure I can do it fast enough is the only problem, because we don't have a lot of time. Do I have time for the chocolate story, Diane?
How much time do you need, Heather?
I can do it pretty quickly, only if I can find it, however. Sorry, 1 second.
No, that's fine. For everybody who is watching and they feel sometimes we go a little bit faster, don't worry. This video will be available here on the Facebook wall, but also we will edit it and upload it on YouTube probably today or tomorrow so that you can go back and see some of the screens. PowerPoint and worksheets available as well. So please go to our webpage, which we're posting in our chat rooms.
And there's also a teaching sheet for your adults. So your parents or whoever's able to teach you, they can find the answers. But I prefer you kind of look things up and made a bit of an effort. Okay, this is a story that I've told in church before, and I normally use the chocolates, but obviously it's not easy to do at the moment, so I will do it with a PowerPoint. The Prodigal Son, which is a chocolate story. Once upon a time, a farmer had 2 sons. One of them was a smarty and very good looking. His hair was curly-whirly with highlights, although he was slightly flaky. He said to his dad in a whisper, "I'd like to talk to you about a certain topic. I feel my life could do with a boost, so give me my inheritance." His dad tried to fudge. "You want half of my money?" "Yes, Pa," replied the son. Eventually the father agreed and handed over all his bounty. The son did up his buttons, left the farm, and went off to spend his dad's fortune. He took a picnic and walked, not waiting for a double-decker. It wasn't long before he found himself in a large city in a superb shopping mall known as Quality Street, where some people mocked and made fun of the shops. They were known as mall teasers. The farmer's son also visited a nightclub where there were minstrels playing music by Eminem, while the customers played skittles. There were also female dancers known as their Turkish delights. Some of them would twirl, while other of them had tummies that would ripple. The son enjoyed all these revels, and soon all his money was spent. His friends were gone, and so was his livelihood. He ended up as a drifter and took a job working on a pig farm. The boy had to lie on the ground to sleep, making his pillow from leafy branches with not too many twigs. He was peckish and got the munchies, and ended up longing to chomp on the pig's food, which was crunchy, but obviously he had to chew it. Eventually, he came to his senses. He looked up at the Milky Way and the planets and the galaxies beyond, and repented of his sin. When he got home, his father forgave him and welcomed him and decided to have a right celebration, but his older brother was a what's-it. However, his dad did not see him that way and welcomed him with kisses. So it just goes to show, even when we've been in numpty, God loves us and sees us as heroes.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with me. I really enjoyed teaching you. I'm so sorry I didn't get to show you the chocolate chip cookies.
It is no problem at all, Heather. We want to thank you for taking time. Oh, that looks amazing. Heather, I'm gonna again stop sharing the screen so we can see each other's faces a little bit closer. I just want to point out that children's story with the chocolates. You will definitely have diabetes after it. You probably need to have a free shot of insulin to survive, but we love the story, Heather. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. If you ever do the story, please take the chocolate out and fill it with cardboard, because otherwise kids nick your chocolate.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So for everybody who was part of this honor, I will unmute the microphone soon. We're going to go into the screen. Let's give Heather a big clap, guys. So let's give Heather a big clap. That's right.
Chocolate.
Thank you so much.